Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. We know you've got many choices to make every single morning, and we are always so very grateful that you choose to spend some time with us. So thank you again for being here. You know the drill. Tapping is clapping, sharing is caring, liking is loving. Please consider doing all those various things. Please consider joining our team. Complete your daily tasks daily. There's a gifting goal today. Also, we are crowdfunded. You want to support the channel, please do so at Factsstillmatter, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Never expected, always appreciated. New items in our merch store. Please go head on over there to check that out at Facts HQ, which you'll find the link in the link tree that's in my bio, or directly at factsstillmatter.site. We are streaming on YouTube. Hello, tubers. We are streaming on Twitch. Hello, Twitchers. Please consider subscribing there. If you haven't yet, by the way, you can find the various links to the Twitch stream and to the YouTube stream also in the link tree that's in my bio. Please consider joining our Discord. It's an action-packed environment. That's where all the magic happens, as we say. Seriously though, it's an incredible community. There's mutual aid channels. There's support networks. We have a book club. We are still working on coming up with more Discord member events like movie nights and things like that. We'll do that. So thank you all again for being here. Yeah, please consider doing that. If you have a difficult time joining the Discord for whatever reason, just please reach out to one of our amazing moderators. Thank you, Swishy Raiders. Love you, Swish. So thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you. Just a programming note, we will be live tomorrow morning for Thanksgiving Day. Members of myself included, along with a few other members, may be alone in the morning, but we're going to do a show, and we're gonna do a special Thanksgiving themed show. So please tune in tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, back with regular programming for Free Speech Friday on Friday, and discussion about FAD for Friday night. But we'll get back to you on that. So thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. It was a short night, or as they used to say, my mother used to say, it was a quick sleep. I had the pleasure of being co-hosting with our friend Eric Ashante last night, and interesting conversations, which got me thinking about how MAGA has broken humanity, and we'll talk about that today because there's some examples that I want to kind of go through with you, which puts more pressure on us empaths who believe in humanity and decency and kindness and things like that. But the conversation ended last night with a young man who was just horribly broken. I felt really, really bad. He talked about abuse when he was growing up. He talked about the indoctrination he had. He talked about what he was told success means. And we were it was a tough conversation. I reached out to him. Hopefully he'll respond, but it kind of proved my point that there's this particular belief, especially in young men. We discussed the red pilling in the past, right? Drew, I hear what you're saying, but we'll get into that. I think the challenge that we face now with so many people that have been either red pilled or who prescribe to this belief that money means power and success and staking your claim. He was talking about Machiavellianism, and Eric and I were just gobsmacked by how sad and broken that person was. I hope he seeks help. So I'll use this reminder. It is Movember, Men's Mental Health and Physical Health Awareness Month. Gentlemen, if you've never seen a therapist, break the cycle, please. There's such an opportunity for you to show or to be an example for the young men in your life, whether they be people that you work with or family members, your own children. There's this stigma that society has with men seeking mental health, support for their mental health. And we have to break that cycle. We really, really have to break that cycle because there's people that are walking around damaged, broken, and scarred from trauma. And most people don't even, especially men, are either not willing to accept the fact that they're walking around with trauma or don't consider what they went through traumatic. So they just live with it, and then that leads to something else. So, yeah, Kono, cool, you're so smart. Said no one ever. So again, that's sort of the overall message for this time of the year. This is not my favorite time of the year for a variety of reasons, but I'll never ever allow gratitude. Or I'll never allow myself to forget the things that I'm grateful for. And the people that I'm grateful for, and the environment that we try to make lives better. So, dudes, do better. Okay, just do better. It's just necessary to just do better. So thank you guys for being here. Okay, so a lot of blowback. It's probably not going to be the happiest of Thanksgiving around the Oval Office and the West Wing in general, because the walls are closing in. I think the latest, we're going to get into some reporting today from NBC News about Kash Patel being on the outs, and I figured it was going to happen. I was trying to determine who was going to be, and I always thought from the beginning it was going to be Kash Patel. He's just not doing his job. He's just incompetent. A lot of pressure internally from some of the people that are, around him, pushing back on some of his bullshit. Why don't we just play that sound I'll play that sound for you guys, and then we can discuss it a little bit more. Just only I say it because I think it's synonymous as to what's going on, because these people in this administration are the ones, in my opinion, that are creating the environment for a lack of humanity towards others. You hear it in their lies, you hear it in their rhetoric, you see it in their actions, and Kash Patel is likely going to be the fall guy in all of this. So this is reporting. This is Ken Delanian, and he's a Department of Justice reporter for NBC. This is his story.
Guys, we've got an MS Now exclusive. FBI Director Kash Patel may not be long for his job. 3 people familiar with the matter tell us that Donald Trump is considering replacing Patel by year's end as FBI Director with Andrew Bailey, the former Missouri Attorney General who's now serving as Deputy FBI Director, co-deputy actually, with Dan Bongino. And what we're told is that Trump and the White House have grown annoyed with Patel over the spate of bad press that he's been getting, in part over his use of taxpayer resources. Remember, we and others have reported about his many flights on the FBI jet, including with his girlfriend, the country singer Alexis Wilkins. And also we reported that he's been using an FBI SWAT team to provide a security detail for his girlfriend who lives in Nashville. They don't live together, they're not married. And that's unprecedented in FBI history. Yeah. We've also reported that Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, has long been annoyed with Patel, in part because of some social media posts that have gotten out ahead of some investigations, and the general feeling that he's just not been a great steward of the FBI. And he's also really taking some flack from the MAGA right. There's some activists in the MAGA sphere that essentially don't like the way he's handling some of their pet issues, including the January 6th bombing investigation and the investigation of the assassination plot against Donald Trump. So a lot of forces combining. Now, our reporting on this may well enhance his job security. And just in the last few hours, Donald Trump came out at the White House and publicly endorsed Patel and said he had confidence in him. But nonetheless, we are told that Trump is considering replacing him by year's end.
So I just think it's an interesting story, right? And of course, Trump's going to make a public statement, right? He said the same thing about, was it Mike Walls, right? Remember after Signalgate? That infamous, that infamous interview that he did, Mike Walls, when the journalist just got sucked into the Signal chat. And then Trump came out within a day and said, "Oh, I fully endorse him for his job." Then just casually he got shifted to a different position because, of course, Trump can't accept the fact that he is surrounded by a bunch of incompetent fucks, traitors to their oath, traitors to the country, traitors to humanity. So that's kind of a weird position that he finds himself in, because as reported, he's getting heat. Kash Patel, I should say, is getting heat from both sides of this conversation. People within the MAGA circles, traditional Republicans, the law and order crowd, and of course, the overwhelming majority of Democrats. So we'll see where this goes. Speaking of the Department of Justice, and the story continues to percolate regarding the things that the president has said about the seditious six, as he calls them. The actual patriots, reminding active duty military about their oath. And the story won't go away. And that's because you've got Republicans now in Congress. Don Bacon has been a very vocal critic of the president, calling this just bullshit. And I'm really curious to see where the other Republican senators who've served, and Republicans in the House who've served, why are they not speaking up? I think you're going to start to see that happen. I really do. So Mark Kelly's been doing the circuit. And I think there was an interview last night, and thank you to Justin. By the way, we have a new mod in our team. It's Justin. Please say hi to Justin. Justin's in the chat. Please tell him please tell him that you love him. Justin and I, it's funny, we joke about this because Justin and I get limited lair time depending on the matriarchy and what the queens tell us that we can do. So Justin and I are going to have to learn to fend for ourselves out in the woods while the lair is being occupied. Yes, I know, Jess. Always a victim. Anyway, so yeah, there you go. So the argument that the administration is making is that this is treasonous. And of course, we went through this exercise yesterday, and then the actual traitors in our country, people who still support Donald Trump and the MAGA movement, are literally calling for their unaliving. Alyssa Slotkin was recently, I think I have some sound from her. She was also questioned, or is being investigated as well. She went out and made a public statement on that, to that effect. I think I have her. She's out. I'm going to say campaigning on it, but she's out talking about it for sure. And here's the sound. And I'm trying to think about what's the end game here. Like what's the end game for the administration? You are literally asking. Well, let me back up a second. This is another thing that's dividing MAGA. We've discussed this all week about how they can't ever claim that they're the party of law and order. They can't ever claim that they're the party of protecting or caring about the Constitution. They can't ever claim are claiming that these patriots are the traitors. And it's just a weird flex that they're in, and it's going to blow up in their faces. So this is Alyssa Slotkin talking about, because an investigation has been opened up into her as well.
Last night, the Counterterrorism Division at the FBI sent a note to the members of Congress saying they are opening what appears to be an inquiry against the six of us. To be honest, the president's reaction and the use of the FBI against us is exactly why we made the video. He believes in using the federal government against his perceived adversaries. This is a scare tactic by him. Mm-hmm. He is attempting to use the FBI to scare us out of continuing to talk and have conferences like this. So it was immediate. The minute I saw the president said they should be hanged, and in effect, I knew that our security situation was going to change precipitously. Obviously, I'm worried about my family. I'm worried about my staff. You know, I've served 3 tours in Iraq. I've done dangerous things. I signed up for this, but my family didn't. My nieces and nephews didn't. People disagree with me every single day. Does that mean that I should be investigated by the FBI and that the President of the United States should suggest that I be hung?
She's right. See, this is what's happened now. When you are part of a movement that is predicated on hate and rhetoric and lies and bullshit, this is what you get. Never again can MAGA or the Republican Party claim that they're not the party of political violence, because they are. Only one person has called for sedition. Only one person has made the claim that that U.S. citizens, active, retired military veterans, proudly recognized. All they did was emphasize their oath. Only one person and one particular movement has tried to equate what they did with sedition, and then reminding people that the penalty for sedition is death. So this is another example of why the president's approval ratings are at historic lows. 37% across many boards, hemorrhaging in every sector, lying to the American public about their grocery prices, lying to the American public about everything. And there's many that still believe it, which is, we did a couple of lives this week talking about how MAGA is fake news. That's what you get when you don't have anything to stand on. When you're denying, when you go to I'm never going to forget this. When you go to the Supreme Court and you ask ask the Supreme Court to give you cover for not providing food to American citizens. MAGA broke humanity. Because I heard people after that happened cheering for that, saying, oh, how do you know they deserve it? We've said this a million times, friends. 1,000 people standing in front of, I'll represent the progressive left. 1,000 people standing in front of me, of 1,000 people, one person does not qualify for SNAP. I don't care. I want to make sure every single person in that group gets food. The same 1,000 people standing in front of a MAGA conservative, one person doesn't deserve it, they'll deny food to all of them because that one person doesn't deserve it. That's it. That's the model. We see it all the time. We hear them talk about it in terms of myself, my money, my finances, my pocket, my family. They don't care about anybody else. MAGA broke humanity. Now, a lot of these things might have always existed. Sure. That's true. Ask a member of any marginalized community. Ask a black woman. They're subjected to it every single day. Targeted hatred. Now it affects all walks of life. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to this group of people who just care more about themselves than anything else. And you see it every single day. And they think making statements like, I care about me and my family. Well, guess what? I care more about your children than you do. People on the progressive left care for because of the things that we stand for. We joke about this oftentimes, friends, but I'm radical because I believe in healthcare for all. I'm radical because I don't believe we should be fighting over food. I'm radical because I believe we have a corrupt economic system in our country that favors the rich at the expense of the middle class. It makes me radical. I'm radical because I believe in decency. I'm radical because I believe every marginalized community should be respected and treated through equity. That people should just be able to live and love who they wish and who they want. Right, One Eye Jack. You're too cowardice to jump in the box. That's why you're sitting in the comment section. It's correct. It's just, this is exactly my point, right? So now we know that the overwhelming majority of MAGA accounts that were on Twitter were offshore, not even real. Not even real Americans, not even real patriots. But we can't keep the pressure off. We have to keep the pressure on, I should say, right? So we'll cover a lot of these things today. Can't hear what? You can't hear? Am I having an audio issue? Sounds okay to me. I think everybody's good. Okay. All right. So Mark Kelly's doing the rounds. And he was on with Jimmy Kimmel last night. And I'm just going to play the interview because I think it's great. Actually, I think before I do that, I want to give Ruben Gallego, who is Senator Kelly's colleague from Arizona. He's the other senator from Arizona. And he's been very, very angry in response to what's happened to his colleagues, not just Senator Kelly, but his colleagues in general. So here's the first sound that I'll play.
This is fucking insane. We should all just point out how fucking insane this is. Hey, this is Ruben Gallego. I'm traveling through Arizona right now, and I just received the news that Department of Defense is starting investigation against my seatmate, Mark Kelly. This is fucking insane. We should all just point out how fucking insane this is. And, you know, these guys are trying to say that they're not acting like fascists. They're not trying to give as much power to this president as a king, and they should stop acting like it. Mark Kelly's a patriot. There's no reason why they're going after him. He was doing his duty and just reminding people about their rights as service members. And, you know, Secretary Hegseth, all these guys, fuck you guys. You're not going to be able to scare us. We have a right to defend the Constitution of the United States. We have a right to tell other service members that they have a right to ignore illegal orders, and you're not going to be able to intimidate us.
I love that. He's right. First of all, it's rare because normally when we see, talking heads, political voices being interviewed on the various news networks, you don't ever hear them drop F-bombs. So I'm always a fan of real talk, right? I'm always a fan of that. I'm always a fan of real talk and talk, right? It makes an impact. Look at all the crybabies in the chat this morning. It's crazy. Requested. Okay. We'll get back into our topic in just a second.
Hello, sir.
Open-minded, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. So I guess you wanted to talk to a Trump supporter. I don't know what you have some specific
requested.
topic, but
Well, you requested, sir. You requested.
yes. I've listened to you, and I'd like to say I disagree with many things you say, and especially MAGA broke humanity.
Like, really?
That's an unfair thing to say, sir.
Is it? Is it unfair? Are you offended? So you don't agree with that statement?
Yeah, it's false. Completely false.
No, in your opinion, it's false.
I'd say it's factually false also. If we're gonna
Really. So
how
people,
did it break humanity, dude?
because people who support MAGA don't give a fuck about their fellow neighbors. That's how. Plain and simple.
Okay, so if you look at history and the last 1,000 years, would you say we are more empathetic today or less?
Can you do me a favor first before we start?
Yes?
Can you tell me what you had for breakfast?
Nothing. I don't eat breakfast.
Nobody cares. Okay, so I want to play some more sound from Ruben Gallego because this is the kind of energy and attitude that we want from our elected officials in response to this bullshit. So he sat down with I don't know, is this Casey? I forget the talking head on CNN, but this is just part of the interview.
Did you say directly to Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, of course renamed the Secretary of War, about this issue?
Well, I think number one, you will never, ever even be half the man that Senator Kelly is. You, sir, are a coward. And the fact that you are following this order from the president shows how big of a coward you are. And I can't wait till you no longer are the Secretary of Defense.
Talk, but other people can't? Yes, unless you have something decent to say. I don't platform bigots. If you want to have a conversation about the economy and ask me questions, I can answer that. But if you show up with your bigoted bullshit, then you'll get shown the door too. It's really simple. It's not that hard. It's really, really not. It's not that hard, but here, we'll do this. Proving that I can talk to anybody. Trump 45-47.
How's it going?
It's good. Do you feel proud with that profile?
I still have it, don't I?
I'm asking you, do you feel proud that you have it?
What do you mean? Hell yeah, he won.
I'm not. I know he won. I'm asking
Yeah,
you.
I feel proud. I still have this profile picture. Yes, sir. I am fucking proud.
So you don't care. I mean, can you tell me what you stand for? Like, what do you stand for in general?
I stand for.
Well, let's take them one at a time. Okay. So I have a couple of rules. I'm willing to have a conversation with you, but if you make a claim about something, the burden is on you to back it up with a source, and we don't answer. Is that you answer directly, you don't pivot around it, and then if I ask you to be more specific, my expectation is that you be more specific. Those are the rules. If you want to engage, those are the rules. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to go by the rules, as good as I can.
So tell me what it is that you stand for.
I would like peace on Earth.
You like peace on Earth. So what does that mean?
You don't know what peace on Earth means?
I'm asking you. I mean, that would be open to interpretation, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think.
Okay, so then what does peace on Earth mean to you?
Everybody getting along. Countries helping other countries instead of just wanting to annihilate them.
So you support the United States supporting Ukraine?
I support the United States trying to just end it.
You said other countries supporting other countries. So wouldn't that just contradict what you just said?
No. I mean, you're trying to like tongue twist it, but if you heard what I said was,
you asked you
said
you want other
other
countries. Hold on, and then you said you believe other countries supporting other countries. So then I asked you, I said, okay, then do you support the United States supporting Ukraine? And now you don't support that. Do you want to try again?
So Joe Biden wasn't supporting Ukraine.
We're not talking about Joe Biden. We're talking about Trump. You have Trump 45 to 47 in your profile. So again, can you answer the question?
No, I don't care for him really supporting Ukraine, but I'm just confused.
It doesn't that well. I'm confused too because you kind of contradicted yourself. Because I asked you what peace on earth was. Let's recap the conversation. I asked you what you meant by peace on earth, and then hold on, and then you said you want countries supporting other countries. I'm like, okay,
you missed a part of that.
Wait a minute. No, I didn't miss anything. I didn't miss anything. Hold on, I didn't miss anything. Let me make my point, and then you can counter if you prefer. Okay. So then I said, okay, the United States of America is a country. Ukraine is a country. So then I said, supporting Ukraine, a country. And now you're saying no.
Yeah, I know.
So
I heard what you said.
Would you like to correct the record?
So what I said was, you said, what would peace on earth look to you? And I said, countries not unaliving each other and helping each other out, okay? And then you wanted to turn it around on asking me if the... Because I heard you didn't have to repeat it over and over. Can I finish?
Do you support Ukraine then? Do you support...
Did you just hear what I said? Why are you asking me again?
I'm asking you.
And I already said that I don't agree with the United States supporting Ukraine, just like I didn't agree with Joe Biden doing the same fucking thing.
Okay, so then you don't support peace on earth then?
That's not peace on earth. If you're supporting one side and not trying to end it, that's not supporting peace on earth. That's supporting one country to annihilate another country.
No. What country was invaded?
Did you just hear me?
What country was invaded?
I thought you don't ask a question with a question.
What? You didn't ask me a question. What country was invaded?
No, you're asking me a question with a question.
No, you didn't ask me a question. I'm saying, what country was invaded?
You know,
what country?
Nobody supports Russia or Ukraine. They get their own weapons to unalive each other.
What country was invaded?
Ukraine.
Okay, so then should we not be supporting the country that was invaded by the alien army who was illegally invading a sovereign nation?
Putin didn't tell him to get off his border lines multiple fucking times and they didn't listen?
So you support Putin?
I support Putin.
You do. Can you tell me?
What I support is if you're pushing the line.
Let's stop again. Let's start again. Okay, let's start again. Can you tell me what you have
for
breakfast?
Why do you ask questions and then cut somebody off in the middle of them answering it?
Can you tell me what you had for breakfast?
God, I don't care. You're lame.
Nobody fucking cares. Okay. It's going to be an interesting day. Lots of people on vacation, apparently. Today. Josh, are you driving?
No. I'm riding the car.
Okay. What's on your mind today?
So just on your last, I do agree with world peace. I believe that this war, what we came into was from the previous administration, cleaning up a mess that we didn't create from Trump. And he's doing the best he can. I don't know if you've heard the news, but they actually just approved Ukraine just signed for the peace deal.
That's not true. It's still being negotiated. There's been a proposal that's been sent out there, though. So who invaded who?
He literally just signed it. Just approved.
Russia hasn't signed it, Josh. Russia has to agree to it too, my guy.
Right. All I said is Ukraine, brother. I didn't say anything about Russia.
There's no negotiations.
The thing about you, Josh, is I noticed with the last guy is you just jump to conclusions. You don't listen to what anybody says. You just keep on exerting your own opinion, brother.
No, it's because people on your side of the aisle are full of bullshit. You guys don't speak in facts. I was just correcting the record. So who invaded whom?
Russia invaded Ukraine. Everybody knows that. Why do you keep asking that question?
Was it justified?
It was justified.
Of course it was. Get the fuck out of here. Another fucking traitor. Look, there's another traitor. That's 2 for 2. Russia's invasion of Ukraine was justified? Really? Really? Okay. So once again, MAGA proving themselves to be pieces of fucking shit. Plain and simple. Peace plan has not been signed. There's no signing of it. Give me a break. It was a Russian endorsed plan. Okay? Members of the Senate Armed Services Committee said the same thing. It's a Russian endorsed peace plan, not Ukrainian. Make up your damn minds. Are you guys pro Russia? Then just say it. It just would be a lot easier for all of us because we know you are. Okay? We know you are. Exactly. Ukraine agrees with some of the changes, and Russia pro Royal in the H group, right, you guys? How come, MAGA, how come you guys don't talk about that anymore? Maybe because it was never a peace deal? How come you're not willing to talk about that? Funny, right? Funny you pathetic traitors support Russia? Going on with Jimmy Kimmel last night. This interview was great. Thank you, Justin, for this reminder. I had it queued up too. Here you go.
Our next guest served his country as a decorated naval captain. He fought in Desert Storm and, like myself, is a former space shuttle pilot. He is also a member of Congress from Arizona, who our president would like to arrest. Please welcome Senator Mark Kelly.
See, Josh says he protects human lives, but Josh justifies Putin's invasion of Ukraine, where they indiscriminately unalive civilians. So do you really protect human lives, Josh? Do you really every morning flexing, thinking that you're some alpha? You really think that you protect human lives? Ha! Right.
Please, thank you for coming. I'm appreciative that you're here. I know you have a lot going on, starting with what happened 5 days ago. The President of the United States goes on social media and accuses you of sedition, treason, and suggests in a not so roundabout way that you should be executed for those crimes. How do you find out about that?
Yeah, it was interesting. I was in the SCIF, which is a secure facility, reviewing some stuff. That's where all the top secret stuff is. I'm on the armed services and the intelligence committees. And I'm sitting next to Alyssa Slotkin, my colleague, also caught up in all of this. And you can't take your phones in there, so no devices. So somebody comes in the middle of our brief, slips her a piece of paper. And I take a look at the piece of paper and it says, the president is calling for your execution. To her, to Alyssa. So she looks at me.
Hey, MAGA traitors, are you cool with an actually decorated war hero? A guy that put his hand on the Bible and took an oath to defend your rights? Are you cool with this guy being called a traitor? You probably are, aren't you? Yeah, of course you are.
Hey, she gets up, she walks out. About 5 minutes later, she comes back in, looks at me and says, well, he's calling for your execution too.
Okay,
so I wasn't off the hook.
You were not off the hook. So that's how you find out about it. What was your reaction when you saw that?
He's calling for your execution too.
Yes.
And the president of the United States says, kill them, hang them, execute them,
F1 in the
try
chat,
them
please.
for sedition. I served 25 years in the United States Navy. You know, I have no.
Damn commercials. Stand by. Thank you. I did get my hair cut.
I mentioned, you fought for this country. You've done
I've
more
almost gotten
than
killed for this country multiple times. Almost shot down over Iraq and Kuwait. I had a missile blow up next to my airplane. I got on a rocket ship 4 times on millions of pounds of rocket fuel for this nation. And then I wake up one day and I got the President of the United States threatening me with my life, that I'm going to be hanged. I'll tell you this, though, Jimmy, and we've also had political violence that has affected my family.
most certainly in a major way. Your wife, Gabby Giffords, who is a great person and was a congresswoman from Arizona. Most people know, and that's why it's particularly galling to hear him say something like this about you, was the victim of an assassination attempt. She was shot, and 5 other people.
No, 6 people killed.
Right.
12 others shot. She's shot in the head. Was in the hospital for 6 months. That's political violence. The president, when he says these things, there are consequences. And by the way, I mean, isn't this the guy 2 months ago that said, we've got to stop this like political violence issue? He didn't even make it to Thanksgiving.
It's almost like he doesn't mean anything he says. It's almost as if he's a hypocrite in some ways.
I mean, you can't keep track of this guy and what he says. And I'll tell you this, though. I'm not backing down. I mean, we said something very simple. Members of the military need to follow the law. We wanted to say that we have their backs. His response, kill them.
And then you have Pete Hegseth, who is the who runs.
Can you imagine? I was just watching some of the comments scroll by. There are people in our country, whether they're trolls or not, but they're probably people like Josh. Can you imagine people choosing sides in this fight, and people picking the draft dodging, twice impeached, 4-time indicted, sexually abusing, fraudster, convicted felon, name on a list predator over Mark Kelly? Think about that, right? Think about that. Again, a corrupt con man, twice impeached, 4-time indicted, 34-time convicted felon, draft dodging fuck, name on a list predator, who bragged about grabbing women by the pussy, who fantasized about or stating that he had sex in common with his daughter, bragged about walking into locker rooms of Miss Teen USA pageant contestants, saying he'd be dating a 10-year-old girl in 10 years, bragging about Tiffany's breast size when she was 1. And you're choosing to side with him over a decorated military veteran hero who is literally defending your rights. That's the side. That's the hill you're going to die on? Okay.
Runs the Department of War is going to open an investigation into you. I assume into your colleagues. You will have to be interviewed by the FBI, and they're trying to find what exactly? I mean, what even is sedition?
Well, this is the investigation because of what Donald Trump said, from what I can tell. And I don't know Pete Hegseth well.
Will have to be interviewed by the FBI.
A little bit about his background. He's totally unqualified.
Well, come on. He was.
Nothing.
Hold on. He was a weekend host at Fox and Friends.
Nothing
fairness.
Against journalists. They play a very important role in our society, but he's not qualified for this job. And from what I can tell, and talking to some of my Republican colleagues, I mean, he just wants to please the president.
Obviously,
yes. And this is what he can do this society failed because we recited something in the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and he's going to prosecute me under the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
For reciting the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
It is so ridiculous. It's almost like you can't make this up.
Do you ever miss the cold vacuum of space?
A 2-in-1 that goes beyond basic.
Code of military.
Hit the commercials button. Sorry.
Well, we try to stay.
Do you ever miss the cold vacuum of space? Yeah.
Stay out of the vacuum. We try to stay inside where it's nice and warm. I do miss that job.
Do you have to now? consult with lawyers and have to deal with this when you're first of all working for the people of Arizona, the people of the United States. Now you have to spend your time. Are you actually like worried about this? I mean, it does.
I've been through a lot more challenging things than this. You know, and I am what I'm worried about is the reaction and what this transmits to the military and the public, which is basically shut up and listen to that guy. And that's not the way our system works. We have loyalty. My oath and every oath every member of the military took is loyalty to the Constitution, not to a person. And he's trying to get some fear out there. And fear can be contagious. But what also can be contagious is courage and patriotism. And that's the reason why.
Because the overall effect is that people are now a little more careful before they speak out. People are worried about speaking out. People don't want to say things that they need to be saying, and that,
which is by design, which is exactly why they're calling this shit out.
Flat out un-American, isn't it?
It's how democracies die.
Exactly.
It is right out of the playbook.
Exactly. I say this all the fucking time. Thank you, Mark Kelly. Apathy is where democracies go to die. An example will be not speaking out against this bullshit puts us in this position. So thank you, Mark.
You know, the playbook of authoritarianism, that's what they do. They try to suppress speech. Every one of us has First Amendment speech rights. And I think the president is in.
By the way, in the true do something spirit, I contacted every one of their offices, everybody on the list, all the seditious six as they're being called. I'm not represented by any of them in Congress, but I just called and lended my support. I would encourage you guys to do that. You can find their Senate or their congressional phone numbers on their various websites. We can post them in the chat. I would just, if you feel strongly about what they've done, and the support and standing up for not only for your rights, but the rights of uniformed military, then call them. It's not gonna hurt. Just call them. Send them emails. Just let them know that there's people out there that believe in what they're doing. So go ahead and do that in the true do something spirit.
Fringing on those, and he is sending a pretty strong message. You do not want to cross him, and your loyalty should be to him. It should not. It should always be to the Constitution.
Is it just me, or is this guy sounding pretty damn presidential? Just saying.
And that's the message we were trying to send. Respect the Constitution. He said, don't respect the Constitution. If you do, in this case, if you do, you can be executed.
Are you getting any support from your Republican colleagues?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
They, I would assume, realize today. Oh.
Well, a couple days ago, too. Rand Paul said, I think it would be a really bad idea to hang U.S. senators.
That seems reasonable.
I respect that opinion. But since then, you know, some more. People are starting to take a look at this and saying, wow, this is just nuts.
Told you.
That he's going after U.S. senators and members of the House for respect that opinion. And because of that, he thinks we should be killed.
Bananas. It makes me feel better about him just wanting me to be fired, to be honest. You know?
But I'll tell you what, Jimmy.
Maybe it means he likes me. I don't know.
And it's not only you being fired, right? I know he said this again on the same day he said we should be executed. He was talking about you getting fired again.
Yeah, he would like that. It's on his Christmas list.
This seems to be a habit he's developed.
Yeah.
But he's also gone after law firms, universities, you know, other media companies, suing people over and over again to suppress their opinion, to make sure that everybody knows that your loyalty should be to him. But that is not how our democracy works. And we cannot go down that slippery slope.
I hope every one of your Republican colleagues backs you on this and tells him, because who wants to live in a country like that? Do they want that the next time around? Do they want to be under that kind of a microscope?
I don't think they do, but I think a lot of folks on the other side of the aisle are fearful from him. You know, somebody I think Donald Trump's pretty good at whack-a-mole. Somebody pops their heads up, and he's good at knocking it back down.
It's true.
But this is serious, and all of us have to, stand up for the Constitution, and continue to push back. And we're supposed to have these. That's the way our government's supposed to work. We're supposed to have these conversations.
Thank you for pushing back and for having these conversations. We appreciate it.
So MAGA, you weak ass beta cucks in the chat. Any of you live in Arizona? Here's a challenge for you, alphas. Go to the senator's office, knock on his door, get his attention, and call him a seditionist traitor. I dare you, you cowardice fucks. Film it so that we can mock your ass. Go ahead. You can chirp in the chat. You can sit. Of course you will, Smiles. Of course you will. Of course you will. You'll sit in the chat. You'll go on the panels with 8 people plus the host, making 9. You'll smell your own damn farts. But yet you won't do a damn thing to any of these people. You won't. You will just drink the Kool-Aid, smell the taint, scratch the back. These people are heroes. They serve their country honorably. They are reminding people, they're literally quoting from the UCMJ, what your duty and your obligations are. And because you guys are so deep down the fucking cult rabbit hole, you think Mark Kelly is a traitor? You probably thought John McCain was one as well. Crazy. Go ahead, I dare you. Go ahead. You know what our mod team will do because they're awesome? They have the best mods in the business. I love you guys. They will even compile the list of phone numbers for all the people who were involved in this, the seditious 6, as they're being called, and they will post. Hey, they'll send the names and the telephone numbers of their offices, and you can pick up the phone and you can call them and you can tell them that they're traitors. You won't though. Actually, you might call them, but you would never show up in person. You would never show up in person, ever, ever. You would never walk up to Mark Kelly, the astronaut, the fighter jet pilot, the guy whose wife, as an act of political violence, was shot in the head. I think 13 people lost their lives that day. Mark Kelly, who served multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. Mark Kelly, a decorated naval officer. You're going to choose Donald Trump over that guy? Wow. Okay. Yeah, I agree. They're the super 6. I agree. So this because there's no way prior to Donald Trump, none of you would have ever even considered calling any of the super 6 traitors. That's why MAGA broke humanity, along with other things. Okay. Just keep that in mind. Okay. MAGA has broke the Dems. Okay, right. I got to respond to something. I'm going to say MAGA broke the Dems. That alone, that lib. We just mock you guys now. We just mock you. Option about the dismantling of the Constitution, about violating human rights, about violating civil rights. We told you. We told you it was all going to happen. We told you how much of a corrupt con man he is. We told you. We told you. Everything. We scripted it out. I could have gone to the prediction market and made bank. But no. You guys just live in your stench. You live in your anti-American bullshit. Told you so. Told you. Okay. Let's get into the healthcare debate because this is something new. And we're going to talk about the, well, actually, before we do that, let's get into the president's a bit angry because Judge basically said to that you're going to be lied to, Dwayne. That everything you said Trump was going to do, we told you he was never going to do those things. And here you are trying to defend it now. So let me ask you a question, Dwayne. Prior to the infamous meeting in the Oval Office between Hadi Zohran Mamdani and Donald Trump, you probably thought Zohran was a jihadist and a terrorist, didn't you, Dwayne? Of course you did, Dwayne. Now what do you think? That right there just proves that you guys are simps for the cult. Whatever your boy tells you, you'll agree with. That's my point. But thanks for playing. Okay, so as you know, the judge dismissed the cases, specifically Letitia James and James Comey. And the ruling was because Lindsay Halligan was illegally promoted to the position. It's a Senate-confirmed position, okay? So I'll play some sound from Pam Bondi first, because she's in spin mode. So here you go.
Reaction to the James Comey, Letitia James cases being dropped today. Back in Washington, James Comey put out a video. He said this matters most because a message has to be sent. The President of the United States cannot use the Department of Justice to target his political enemies. Your reaction to the cases being dropped into that specific message?
Sure, we'll be taking all available legal action, including an immediate appeal to hold Letitia James and James Comey accountable for their unlawful conduct.
What is your reaction to his statement?
I'm going to keep going on this. I'm not worried about someone who has been charged with a very serious crime. His alleged actions were a betrayal of public trust.
Okay, so let's go to the tape, Jim. So here's the problem. When she talked about the appeal, from the judge and at confirmation. So the administration is going to attempt to figure out a way, because she would be the one that would appeal it. Pam Bondi can't appeal it because she wasn't the prosecutor of record. So someone needs to be in that position as U.S. attorney who goes through the Senate confirmation process to become official. Who knows if they'll pass the nomination process at this point to be able to appeal it. So they're stuck. And by the way, the statute of limitations on the James Comey case has expired because the deadline was September the 30th. That whole process of Eric Siebert, who was the U.S. attorney. Let's back up a second. The reason that Eric Siebert resigned is because there's no evidence. Basically, he's like, there's no evidence. I can't, I'm not going to indict this guy. There's no evidence. Because there's no evidence. I played the sound yesterday from the hearing that he had with Ted Cruz, and he stuck to his guns. There's no contradiction in his testimony, none whatsoever. That this has been on Trump's mind for a very long time. Federal judge dismissed the criminal case against both Comey and James. The basis for dismissal, the prosecutor who brought the charges, Lindsay Halligan, was found to have been illegally appointed. She lacked lawful authority under federal appointment rules, meaning the indictments that she secured were invalid. Because of that, the court ruled that all actions flowing from Halligan's defective appointment are hereby set aside. However, for Comey's case, major obstacle. The statute of limitations for his alleged offenses expired. His lawyers argued that this prevents refiling. In James's case, reindictment remains legally possible. There's no statute of limitations expiry in this case, though the prosecutor appointment issue and questions about political motivation remain controversial. So this has happened. They can't appeal it because they have no one who can appeal it, because she was the attorney of record. I reached out to Attorney Di yesterday to confirm that information, and thank you, Di, if you're here. I appreciate you getting back to me on that. So there needs to, I think it's 90 days that they have to appeal. So the clock's ticking. They're going to have to find someone who's willing to stake their reputation on this, go through the process, the Senate confirmation process, get the appointment potentially, and then and then the clock stops or starts. This is an absolute embarrassment for you guys, MAGA. You can't do anything right. You can't even, don't forget the Comey team. I think I've got information on this. Hold on a second. Yeah, the Comey team, their argument is they didn't even use the full grand jury panel to get a ruling on this. They only went to a couple of members, and Lindsey Halligan ultimately had to admit that. This is what you guys voted for. Exactly. You voted for this redemption. You voted for this retribution, and this is what you get? This is what you get? Like, exactly. They can't appeal because she was placed in this position illegally. So what do you do now? Court martial? Oh, goodness gracious. This is just so sad. Dimension, Discord, you don't have any followers. Get out of here. You're a troll. You can leave. MAGA broke your brains. MAGA broke your humanity. You don't care about any of it. You care about yourselves. And even then, you don't care about yourselves as the economy is crashing around you. Why do you think this administration doesn't want to release GDP numbers? Why do you think they don't want job numbers to come out? Why do you think they're blaming Democrats for breaking the BLS? That'd be the Bureau of Labor Statistics, MAGA. Okay. Not a bologna and lettuce sandwich. Thank you. Those are cool. So that case is a disaster for them. First of all, I don't think he necessarily knows what's happening around him. Well, that goes without saying. But he was caught on Air Force One in a little moment. He's reacting here to the dismissal of these cases.
Cases against Letitia James tossed out. Do you still have faith in Lindsey Halligan?
Oh, she's great. I think she's great. They got out on a technicality, and you'll see what happens from here on. But if you look at the actual charges, I think anybody that looks at it very fairly would say, boy, are they guilty. So let's see what happens over the next week. You know, the court didn't say you couldn't bring the case, re-bring the case, or appeal the case. So they have a lot of options. They're going to call the shot. I'm not calling the shot. But Lindsey's
your Department of Justice to investigate them, to bring charges against them. You literally told them that. Pam. Remember the infamous Truth Social post? You told them to. So here you are now. Remember the infamous Truth Social? You're stuck. Don't know what to tell you, but you're stuck. So, of course, this is taking the rounds, so to speak. Here's an interview. This is on. I think, where did I get this sound from? I think it's Ellie Koenig, who was a Department of Justice lawyer and also a talking head now, and he's talking about the impact that this case has on the credibility of the Trump DOJ.
When a judge rules that the person who was appointed by the Justice Department isn't there legally. Let's put it this way. DOJ has now lost both of its two highest profile cases with one fell swoop, and they lost it because of incompetence, because they didn't install Lindsey Halligan into office in the proper way. And by the way, and this goes to the clip we just saw of the Attorney General, they knew they screwed up.
Exactly.
The Justice Department knew they screwed up. And here's how we know they know. Because after they installed Lindsey Halligan, they tried to issue a memo a couple weeks later saying, well, actually, we call her this thing called a special.
Listen to this part. This is nuts because they fucking knew that they screwed up.
Attorney to the Justice Department. And the judge today said, yeah, it doesn't work that way. You don't get to issue something 2 weeks later and say, this goes back to 2 weeks ago. So it's a screw up at the most fundamental level. And for now, these cases are dead.
Yeah, I mean, what even is a special U.S. attorney in this case?
I mean, come on. It is just a fucking clown car. It's just a clown car, and he's shedding support everywhere. Once you were in, you can be called at any point. No, that's not true. Dimensional discordance. Dude, mods, can you take out the trash? 0 followers. I'm not going to listen to that bullshit. Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all very much. Okay, gotcha. It's just, it's pathetically embarrassing. And this is, again, how MAGA broke humanity and broke brains, because broke humanity and say, well, it's a corrupt legal system. It's corrupt judges. If you could just take a step back for a second, right, and just say, okay, so according to the technicality, it's not a technicality. This is what's happened with MAGA. That when rules are violated, they say it's weaponization. This person was appointed illegally. Okay? There's a flash goal. What is it? It is whatever that is. It's 40 of the hard things. So do all the stuff. Erica, by the way, is really good at that. I suck at it. So she's really good at the reminders. So do the thing with the stuff. Yeah. Anywho, so this is where they sit now. They're unwilling just to take a step back and say, wow, this entire thing is a disaster, which is why Kash Patel is going to be, basically facing being kicked out of the club, so to speak. Yeah, do all the good things, exactly. Like somebody's going to have to take the fall for this because it's embarrassing, and Trump's never going to take the blame. He's going to blame somebody else, and right now it's likely going to be the immigrant, the brown-skinned guy. He's the first to go. He's the first to go. It's going to be him. Of course, it's going to be him. Kash, you should have known better going into this. You should have known, Kash. Why didn't you know? Why didn't you know? Look, here's another one. Dwayne, either come in the box, bro, or just leave because you're just chirping in the chat. If you'd like to say something and get something off your chest, I'm here to listen. I'm a good listener. I don't bite. I only nibble. Please feel free because it's kind of embarrassing for you to hide down in the chat. If you want to get it off your chest, you can. It's the giving season. I will give you some advice. Get a hobby. There you go. All right. Where do I want to go now? So we're talking about the depths to which this goes and how they're losing support everywhere. Well, when you lose Alex Jones, there's a problem. So Alex Jones yesterday said this.
Conflicted. Think I have a lot of knowledge, a lot of depth, a lot of sources, a lot of context. And when I do get conflicted on something, I just have to go to God with it and pray about it a lot. And then go to that place that King David talked about, the quiet place, the Most High. And then I'm going to make my decision. And I mean, if God tells me tonight, I'll make my decision. But I am seriously inches away from not supporting Trump anymore. Because I am not going to watch him commit political suicide.
Wild that you've lost Candace Owens, you've lost Tucker, you've lost Nick Fuentes, you've lost Alex Jones, you've lost them all. You lost them all. And we're going to get into, I don't normally use like AI very much, but I had a little thought in my head. I was curious about the review that ChatGPT would give to MAGA in general as a movement. So I'll get into that in a little bit. I do see a request. Let me see, Hector, I see it. I want to bring up Blue because Blue's going to do our weekly immigration update. It's really good timing. Good morning. How are you today?
Doing pretty well. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. I've been enjoying your lives. I'm glad you're hosting more. So good to see you. Good to see you out there doing that. What do you got for us today?
So for our immigration quick hits for the week, the World Cup FIFA Pass.
I'm going to take a little break, so you're in charge. I'm giving you the keys to the car.
Sounds good. World Cup FIFA Pass fast tracks interviews for ticket holders. The administration and FIFA have launched a FIFA Pass to fast track visa interviews for 2026 World Cup ticket holders, hiring roughly 400 new consular officers to ensure fans skip the wait. The rapid mobilization inadvertently proves that chronic visa backlogs are a political choice, not a resource inevitability. When a high-profile sporting event is at stake, the government can find the staff. While this creates a smooth path for tourists, it underscores the inequity of a system that leaves families resource in queues simply because they lack the leverage of a global mega event. MAGA always complains about people skipping the line, but now the administration is giving out tools to do so. Next up, DHS moves to re-expand the public charge net. You may remember last week we talked about the State Department instructing officers to weigh chronic conditions in visa denials. DHS has proposed a sweeping expansion of the public charge rule, seeking to roll back the 2022 standard and penalize green cards and some other status applicants for accessing essential safety nets like Medicaid, SNAP, and housing assistance. By allowing officers to consider the benefit of use of household members, the proposal explicitly targets mixed status families, putting U.S. citizen children in a precarious position. Most telling is that the agency's own analysis frames the predicted drop in enrollment, essentially scaring eligible families away from healthcare and nutrition as a fiscal benefit of the policy. This move further highlights the inhumanity of this administration.
We're going to cover a lot of that every single day. I mean, it seems like it's getting worse and worse, Blue. Mm-hmm. So thank you for jumping in today. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving with your family. And Blue's going to join us every week, most likely going to be on Mondays, and we'll do this immigration breakdown. I really appreciate you doing that work for us, my friend. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You got it. Have a good day. See you later.
You too.
All right. I guess see Hector. Yep. Good morning, young man. How are you?
Good morning.
You're younger than me.
No, I got in the request because I wanted to thank you for bringing up the Alex Jones situation, because I don't hear anyone talking about that, and he's actually been pulling away from Trump for months now. I remember back when the whole Elon situation came up, and people were saying, "Do not call me MAGA. I'm not one of you nut jobs." Alex Jones was telling MAGA not to identify him as such because they're crazy. Alex Jones. And what I find so funny about that is that he has been for years propped up to be this like conservative talking point or a voice of truth for the party and the things that the Democratic administration want to hide and whatnot. And when he started to deter, he got tossed to the side. That's why we don't see him talked about. We don't see Owens talked about, so on and so forth. And then all this support went towards Shapiro. All this support went towards Kirk, when they used to be those people in the party. So I appreciate you bringing that up, because now all of a sudden they want to go, oh, well, they're crazy, we don't care about them. But those same crazy people were like the bread and butter of Republican podcast spaces. And the second thing, Blue, for that immigration update, that's a really cool thing you guys are doing. I'm going to be looking forward to that for the next show. But yeah, thank you very much for letting me up. Y'all keep doing all of the good things.
Well, I was going to say before you leave, I was going to say, like, I would never platform Alex Jones. Obviously, I would report on it, but I'm glad you said that, because I think it shows this crack that's getting wider and wider in MAGA. Right? It seems like the split is like the America First crowd and the MAGA crowd, and then there's the we don't like any of this shit crowd. So yeah, I think it's necessary to remind people that these were voices. I mean, Alex Jones was an early voice in the whole MAGA movement. He was one of the loudest, right? And he's a piece of shit human being. We know that. But the fact that he's like, it's similar to some of the language that we saw from the Jeffrey emails about how the single biggest, arguably the biggest schmex trafficker in the world, says that Donald Trump is a disgusting piece of shit. That should tell you a lot.
That's been going absolutely not. Who are you to question them? When they tell you who they are and what they don't fuck with, believe them.
That's exactly right. Thank you, my friend, for being here today. I appreciate you.
Always, man. Make sure that you support this beautiful man here. Knock out these gift goals and all the good things. Take it easy.
You're a good man. See you later. Take care. My mods are they're all everybody good now. I got to check in. You guys okay? Everybody good? Has the swooning ended? Okay, I just want to make sure. You guys good? Cool. Good to know. They're all good. It's true though. Silky voice. It's true. I'm 4 minutes pregnant. That's funny. Max, how are you today? Okay, you're driving. All right. Let me let's go back to this. It's I'm glad he brought up that point. These sort of fractures in what's always been a reliable, consistent echo chambered voice, right? How people would use various right-wing tools like Tucker, like Alex Jones, it was Glenn Beck, it was Rush, it was others, and it's been this evolution of the right wing. We know Alex Jones is a despicable human being. There's no doubt about it. And people still, the whole InfoWars mess was created around the time of the Tea Party, and it became this movement. He became a centralized figure in the propagation of all this bullshit. His racism, his bigotry, his transphobia, his conspiracy theories, his false flag claims regarding Sandy Hook, and all that kind of nonsense. Well, it used to be a safe, reliable space for the reiteration of MAGA messaging, so to speak. Not anymore. It's going by the way of the dodo, so to speak. Which then, what's going to fill the void is the question. Which is why when you start to hear Mark Kelly allude to the fact that there are Republicans who are absolutely against this stuff, right? And if you notice what happened regarding the discharge petition, all it took was Trump to say, go ahead and vote for this. So that tells you that there's a lot of people in the party that still feel like they need his endorsement. But I think there's not as many as there used to be, because you're starting to hear rumors of all kinds of potential Republicans resigning from Congress. I'm not going to go out on a limb just yet and say that let me rephrase. There is a strong possibility that Democrats could become the majority party in the House prior to the midterms because of potential resignations. Because the math's just not going to work out in Mike Johnson's favor. And I think more importantly, I think people in his own party are disturbed by his leadership. And there's this little thing called a motion to vacate. I think they changed the rules. I think it has to be 3 members of the House now have to agree. You submit a motion to vacate, you get enough votes for it, and then Mike Johnson is removed as a speaker and they have the election again. And I really feel like there's enough people in the Republican Party who are disgusted. You've got, excuse me, right, Dems or terrorists. Yeah, cool, great. You've got enough people in the MAGA caucus who are kind of done with Mike Johnson. Now, I don't know what that's going to mean. Does it necessarily mean that? And to be honest, I don't want Hakeem Jeffries as the House Speaker. I want him to get challenged. I don't want the assumption that it's just because he's the person that would be considered the leader. I would like to see a robust discussion and find out who the elected representatives in the House support. I've been disappointed by Hakeem Jeffries, to be honest. I've been disappointed about his stance on Zohran Mamdani. I've been disappointed by some of his connections to AIPAC. I've been disappointed. And we being critical thinkers, we want to be able to challenge conformity and status quo. I want voices that we may not even know yet. Did anybody ever heard of Mike Johnson prior to him becoming speaker? No. So let's see what it looks like. So is it take 9 members now? I'm not even sure the numbers. I don't think AOC would want to be speaker, but I just, who would be my choice? I don't know. I'd like to see who the nominees are, but I look at somebody like, I look at somebody like Jamie Raskin is the name that pops into my head. He's the kind of person that I think would be great to become the Speaker of the House. I just think he'd be the kind of person that would really. Jasmine Crockett, I don't know if she'd want the job. I mean, she'd be great. She would be she would be fantastic. But I think I'm not sure. So we can have that conversation. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but from what I've seen him, how I've seen him in Congress, and how he just knows that he's a constitutional lawyer. He knows the system inside and out. He knows what levers to pull. He knows who to push and how. So I guess we'll see. Anywho, everybody keep tapping and sharing. Thank you, Hector. Thank you, Blue. I appreciate that. Like I said, Blue's immigration updates will be a weekly feature. We'll do them on every Monday. So before we get into the more of the MAGA stuff, this was shared with me in our mod chat. And the conversation shows up a lot about the, I've been very vocal that I think the male loneliness epidemic is a bunch of bullshit. The reason men are lonely is because men are fucking assholes. And why would women want to spend any time with them? So the conversation then turns into birth rates. And we know about the 4B movement in Korea, about how women are just like, we're done with y'all. We're just fucking done with it. So I'm going to play some sound. This is an interview. I don't know this person other than their account on X. It's called @doomscrolling. This person's name is Miranda. So I'm just going to play this for you, and then we can talk about it because I think I think it's real. I think it's something that we should all consider as to what's happening now, and we're just asking the simple question: we want men to be better because we have to be better. And men have a tendency to blame, well, not a tendency, men often blame their own shortcomings on women, of course. Well, you might want to get over that. So here you go.
Driving the human race towards extinction at the moment in the biggest case of fuck around and find out the world has ever seen by refusing to have kids because they don't like the way men treat women and they don't like the way that society treats mothers. And so they're like, you know what, instead of having kids and continuing the human race, let's just go extinct. Like, let's just all go extinct. And this isn't only happening in South Korea. I don't know if you saw that report a few weeks ago that said that for the 4th year in a row, the birth rate there was dangerously low compared to the death rate. And if that continues, you end up with loads of old people and not enough young people to support them and support the economy. And then you have fewer women in each generation and fewer of them are having kids. And then eventually you go extinct. And when they're asking women in South Korea, why are you doing this? In part, they're saying they don't like men. They don't like the way that men treat them. And they're like, why would I have a kid with this idiot? Like, why would I breed from this idiot? Why would I pass this idiot's DNA on? I don't care if you say that we're going to go extinct. Like, I don't care if my uterus is all that stands between, like, us and extinction. I'm not going to do it. And this is happening everywhere. Like, they reckon that by the year 2050, 75% of nations will be in the same situation. And by 2100, it'll be 97% of nations, because women are refusing to have kids because we're sick of this crap. Like, in my country at the moment, in Britain, the average birth rate is 1.5 children per woman, and it needs to be 2.1, and it's set to plummet to 1.3. And the same thing is going to happen in the US because women just don't want to have any kids. And I can see why. It's because forever we have been told that all we're good for is having children, but also that that's not really that important because it still doesn't make us the default gender. It still doesn't make us the important gender. It's men who get to earn all the money and have all the fun. They're the ones who get to keep all of their leisure time. They're the ones who get to own most of the world's land and speak most of the world's words, because we're just women and mothers, and that's not that important. And so why would we do it? Like, why would we do it? What's the incentive here? Because women actually know that having children takes a massive toll on our physical health and our mental health, and that we're then expected to live our lives in servitude to these children, to these future worker bees, so that they can take care of the aging population. And our entire lives will be changed by having a child. But we're also constantly told that that's not that important, but that's all we are, but that's not important. And so we're looking at the situation and we're like, why would I do this? I'd rather put a backpack on and go traveling. I don't care if we go extinct. Like why would I do this? Where's the incentive? There isn't one. We're not even appreciated for doing it. Like, we're actually like brought down for doing it. Why would we do it? Why not instead just go out there and explore this world and live our lives? And that's what more and more women are doing. They're making the decision to do that instead. So here's the thing. If you don't want to go extinct, you better beg us to start having kids, and you better make it worth our while. Like, that's the only solution here. That's the only way that we get out of this mess. Women need to be recognised for their importance, not just in terms of having children, but everything glorious that they bring to this world. Because we've been told for all this time that, like, it's not us, it's not you, you're not the important ones. Like, you guys aren't the key workers here. And now actually we're seeing that we are the key workers, and actually we are vitally important for the continuation of the human race. And before anybody jumps up in here and is like, well, then you guys are selfish. Why don't you just take one for the team and sacrifice your physical and mental health to have children? Like, what would they just do that? The human race depends on it. This isn't our fault. It's yours. It's society's fault, and society has been run by men for all these years, and you have left us feeling underappreciated and unvalued for everything that we have to offer, including having children and raising them and raising the next generation. And we just don't want to do it anymore. And we're not gonna. Fuck around and find out.
No notes. None whatsoever. By the way, Mr. Nice Guy's back, who complains about me every single day, but he's here every single day. Mr. Nice Guy, you left your keys on my bedside table last night. Would you mind coming back to get them, please? And can I have my underwear back? I'd really appreciate that. Good morning, Ash.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. How you doing?
Will you drop who that was, or how you were listening to that in your Discord? Because I liked that. And on that, gosh, it's so true. And I don't know if you've ever heard me sort of talk about my theory that a matriarch and a egalitarian society was really stolen from us. And if you look at, there's only 5 species of mammals that go through menopause. I may have this wrong. We're one of 5 species of mammals that go through menopause that are not a matriarch. And when you look at how our society should be and why females typically die, they can have babies until they die, is because that's kind of like what they're needed. But in a matriarch and why we go through menopause is because women are valued for so much more than just reproduction, that nature actually stops us, and then we have 40 more years or so beyond to teach men. And in these matriarchs, they reproduce, and then the elders teach the men how to hunt, how to feed, how to take care of, their children, etc. And we were headed towards a more egalitarian. It's the grandmother theory. If you've looked in it's kind of adjacent to what she's talking about, like beyond just that because women, we are just valued for our femaleness, as far as women go, and people who can have babies, right? That they only look at us for our female qualities. But anyway, that just was disheartening and hit spot on in the feels for me, because all of the things that are so beautiful about have been stolen from us. I mean, completely stolen from us by the patriarch. And it just makes me sad.
I just texted it to you, by the way.
Okay.
No, I agree. I can't, obviously, never going to be able to look at it from your perspective, but I'm just like, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I'm going to give you a shout out. Ash and I were on a panel together a couple nights back, and we were working really hard, trying to make a dent. And like I said to you, I think if you had an opportunity to be one-on-one with that person, I think you could have made a difference. But I appreciate you doing the work, friend. I really do.
Maybe we'll see. I appreciate you too. Take care.
You got it. See you later. Have a good day. Have a good Thanksgiving. I think it's a reckoning, right? I'll say this, and I'll say it every day. I want a matriarchy before I die. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would just like to see what that would look like. I would like to see what a country with all the resources that we have, all the intellectual might that we have, all of the amazing spaces that we have here. I would just love to see what that would look like if women were in charge. I really would. I'd love to see it because I know the priority shift aligns with the things that I want. Education would be prioritized. Public health would be prioritized. Human rights and human dignity would be prioritized. You know, funding programs that would better everyone from the most densely populated urban environments to the most rural spaces. The environment would be protected. We wouldn't be fighting over food. We wouldn't be fighting over healthcare. We would have things that we all should have. We would approach, our society would just look different. And I just want to see that. I don't know if I will, quite frankly, in my lifetime. I hope so, but maybe in my kid's lifetime, you know, maybe in my daughter's lifetime, you know, she's 18 years old, about to take on the world. And I would love to see her and my boys be able to grow up in a world that just looks different. I look at the Scandinavian countries and I look at countries around the world who are led by women, and their societies are happier. Their societies are healthier. They prioritize the things that should matter. And I hope we get to see that. So, all right. Safer, much safer. Of course it'd be much safer. Obviously it would. Ranting, how are you today?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
So my mom was Korean, and by was, she passed away a couple of years ago. But I did go to Korea. Oh, dementia got her. She's in a better place. But I went to Korea in 2006 to see why she was as abusive as she was. The men there are disgusting. The men that, I mean, because I saw it throughout the whole family, and not one female decided to stand up for the other. All they did was put their heads down. When a man speaks, you will listen. So I understand why the women there do not wish to have children. I don't blame them.
Sure.
I mean, if you're going to be in a relationship that's abusive, and not saying that men are not abused either, because that happened to my father with her, because she thought in her mind, being so Korean, that, well, if men are this way here in Korea, I can be this way here in America. And well, watching her father going through the Korean War and things happening to him with the North Koreans, I think it set in her mind, I can be this way also. So that's how she grew up. And a lot of the old school women grew up that way too, but not towards their Korean husbands, but towards American husbands, because a lot of American men are very passive aggressive. My father is that way. He will not touch a woman. He grew up, leave it to Beaver. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then when she found out I was gay, it was World War 17 in the household. Like, she never accepted it. But she is also the reason why I never wanted to have kids, because I didn't want to do to my kids what she did to me.
Right.
So for women to not want to have kids, that's your choice. But men need to step back and support your women.
Do you think it's that women don't want to have kids, or because it just requires men to have kids?
I think these days, this society, women don't want to have kids. I wouldn't. I would not want to raise my kid in this American, and then lay out some slurs, and then them having to go through life and then blame me for being who I am, even though I raised my child to be accepting of others. I mean, that's not fair. Like I would be stuck in a hotel room with you because I trust you. But when you get someone on the other side of the fence, I'm going to sit there with a fork in my hand waiting for something to happen, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your perspective on that. I appreciate you coming up, and have a good Thanksgiving.
You too. Love you. Yes,
right,
sir. You
too.
too.
Take care. All right, bye. Yeah, I'd be curious people's thoughts on that. I saw a lot of comments saying it's both. Don't want to have kids or want to but don't want to have them with men. I get it. I totally understand. Good morning, friend. How are you today? Hello. Bruce Wayne's mom. Are you there? Hello. Hi.
Oh,
Hi.
sorry, accident. Go ahead and drop me down.
Okay, thank you.